So we tried to do this video, this final video, on transportation in the parking lot. However, Hunter's parking lot deemed to be a little too busy and we had too many interruptions, and we are both, I think, mentally and physically exhausted from trying to get this done. But what we are going to do is quickly talk about one of the great challenges and barriers for quality of life, for employment, for a social life, for shopping, for even doctor's appointments at times. The barrier is transportation, and individuals with disabilities, especially wheelchair users, struggle with those issues every single day. And so Hunter, talk briefly about the bus system in Wausau. Are the buses fully accessible?
Yes, they're open Monday through Friday, but the only problem is they go until 6:30 at night and don't run on weekends or holidays.
Yes, and so the time constraint of that is, it really limits what you can do and where you can go, especially for community activities, to be out in the community and to socialize. I know the Wausau bus system also has, the Metro Ride also has the paratransit system, in which it's a door-to-door service, which is great. However, again, it's within the city limits and also Monday through Friday until 6:30, and so that's greatly limited. Now, in our city, we're lucky enough to have taxi service that is accessible. But what is the barrier for that?
It is way too expensive.
Very expensive. Hunter recently went to a Woodchucks game this past summer, and we did not have transportation for him, and so I had to rely on the taxi service. And how much did Mom have to dish out for you to go less than 5 miles round trip?
It was about $80.
$80. And I should say that it's about 10 miles round trip. It's about 5 miles there, 5 miles back. And with the tip, it was $80. And that is way past my budget constraints and definitely way past Hunter's. And so when you have to rely on something like that, if you don't have another funding source, it's inaccessible, because you can't afford to take a trip like that with that amount of cost. And vehicles, we found that when vehicles break down, they become not usable anymore. And Hunter and I looked at new accessible vehicles, and even safe, reliable, used accessible vehicles, and some of them were more than the cost of my house. And so that again is the the financial barrier to transportation for individuals with disabilities. Hunter was extremely fortunate in the last 2 years. In 2016, his vehicle became unusable. The lift in his van was dangerous, and we could no longer use his van. And a group of my friends got together and held a fundraiser, which is great. It took almost a year from the idea to the fundraiser for it to happen. We raised an enormous amount of money, but it was still not enough to get a long-lasting and reliable vehicle. But I will let Hunter tell the story of how we ended up getting his vehicle with the funds that we got from the fundraiser.
I had just did a story with Officer Bain, and Officer Bain's friends saw that and ended up contacting us, saying they had a new vehicle, but it was out of our price range, and so her and her sisters got the price lowered down so that we could have it.
Yes, actually, the incredible, wonderful woman that had contacted me about the vehicle had talked to her siblings, and they were just mourning the loss of their father, who was in a wheelchair and had a vehicle, and they offered it to us for what we had, right, Hunter?
Yes.
Yes, and so they lowered the price substantially. This does not happen often. It happens extremely rare, and there are very limited funding sources. And when you look at your life as an able-bodied person, and you know, an able-bodied person who has transportation, think of all the things in your life that rely on that transportation: shopping, medical appointments, socializing, family, emergencies, employment. All of those things you need transportation for. And when you are disabled and on a very limited income, you can't find resources to get you that transportation, and you kind of end up stuck. And a lot of people in Hunter's Building have that issue, that they can't go anywhere. And even if it is during the times when the city buses run, you can only fit one wheelchair, at the most two, on a city bus. And if you have 4 people in a wheelchair who want to go someplace, they have to do it in shifts, and it's very time consuming and takes a lot of energy, doesn't it?
Yes, it does.
Yes, and so, just us taking these videos throughout the day exhausted Hunter. And so I think we are going to wrap it up and say happy World CP Day.
Happy World CPD, CPD fans. Keep rolling and keep on smiling.
And we encourage you to check out the website that we are posting below this video. It'll give you a greater insight into what World CP Day is all about and what you can do to enhance the lives of individuals who have cerebral palsy and lives of individuals who have disabilities. And thanks for watching us and listening to us today.
Keep rolling and keep smiling, and don't forget to log on to www.comerowithme.com. Bye.